Welcome to a new series. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it. I'll try and think of something smart. It is Saturday morning. You can hear the birds chirping. It's about in around 6 a.m. in around that. And we're out for the morning walk. Normally I'm not always like this. It's just when I'm dieting I always flick the switch, and how you start the diet is how you'll go on. So routines, habits, behaviours. Probably don't need to get up just that early yet, but it's one of them ones where if I do it now it'll just make everything 10 times easier for me. So I just thought I'd explain why I'm doing the long form. So the reason I went away from like YouTube and maybe leaning in as much on podcasts and that was because I was just fucking absolutely scootered for time. A lot's went on in the last sort of 4 or 5 months since I've really vlogged properly, and I want to just come back and really give in depth, because I'm noticing now the long form stuff, rather than just reels on Instagram, it's giving people more value. They're getting a lot more from it. So my main focus on this year is to, as I was saying on Evan Daly's podcast that should be out soon, is there's a lot of great men, there's not a lot of good men, and I think over the last year or more I've been focused on like being great and earning more and having more followers, and yeah, all that's great, but I feel like in a sense I lost a wee bit of myself, and that's me being honest, and it's a wee bit annoying. And so I want to just go back to like the reason I started, which was like to really help people that are in the similar position I am. So even people right now that are struggling a little bit with their head, or people that are unsure, like this is one of the main reasons I've locked in with the dieting phase, is because my head was a little bit up and down, and giving me something to work towards. Like you can't expect other people to help you if you don't help yourself. So like me locking in with training, smashing a goal, moving forward is always going to make me feel better. And yes, I probably actually could use bulking rather than cutting, but I just find dieting is always a really good discipline mechanism if you need to pick things up. And it's one of them things where I really think leaning in on that can help you massively, because I was listening to like Simon Sinek, I don't know if you've heard him on a podcast recently, and he was saying, for example, he took a woman for pretty much therapy for a full 6 months, and for 90 minutes she just explained and complained about her life, and oh woe is me, and like we all do, that's understandable. It's maybe what I do in therapy. And what he found was whenever he flicked the switch and said to her, can we split the time, it was a friend, and can I talk to you about my life, the 90 minutes soon became about him, and she started giving him advice and helping him. And what he noticed was that she improved a lot more. Usually she would go away and for 2 days feel better, versus now she was breaking down routines, habits, behaviours. She was almost giving him advice and taking it herself. So it's one of these ones where I'd say for the last, until about September there, and the only reason I'm starting this now is because I feel like I've got a lot sorted. I feel like my head's in not a bit of a better place, but I feel like I'm definitely getting towards the good man. I'm not focusing on what I'm achieving, I'm focusing on what's better for people around me, myself, what aligns with the values, rather than maybe getting a little bit skewed. I think the money side of things as well, just not that I was doing anything bad, I was just working night and day. That's really what it was. Like I had no time for anything else, and I put myself under a lot of pressure, and I think it was because I was building like this ego and probably fueling it slightly, versus now I honestly don't care at all. It doesn't faze me. Even if nobody watches this, it's not about that. If one person watches it and gets an impact, and you're like, that resonated with me, that's all I want. Because I wish I could have found something like that whenever I was younger. Even 6 months ago, whenever I needed something, I couldn't find anybody that was talking through a similar headspace, and it was really tricky. And yeah, it's just share my thoughts on like a weekly basis. And I think taking you for a morning walk is a wee bit of a different YouTube. You know, a lot of people don't do it. Usually there's cars fucking absolutely everywhere. Oh, I know a lot of people will be wondering, what the fuck, how do I not track calories? Yeah, that's a really good one, but the main reason I can say that is because whenever I track them, it's a wee bit of a nightmare, so it gets in my head a little bit. So whenever I find, like, if my coach goes, you're on 2,300 calories, I'm like, oh, that's quite low for a man of my size, and then it plays in your mind, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm a wee bit weaker, and then you go into the gym and you're feeling a wee bit tired, versus I just use meal plan all the time, and that way I'm not tracking calories. He takes the calories out. I just use a meal plan when I diet. I find it far easier, far less stressful, it takes time away from tracking, and on top of that I don't have to see my calories, so I just delete the calories on it and just eat the same thing, and people are like, oh, that's a bit see, for me that's easier, because it doesn't feel like I've even changed calories because I'm not hungry. I'm getting stronger, my gym sessions are going better, so that's the real reason why I don't track 90% of the time. I'm still nailing my calories, I just don't track them. Coffee acquired. Actually forgot to bring every morsel of money I had for that, so I rocked up, was like, Joe, Americano, wheat dash oat, almond, but then realised, and I haven't been out for fucking coffee in ages, and I was like, I have actually no money on me, so that's how smart I am. My phone doesn't tap with the wallet thing. I don't know why, don't ask. So yeah, pretty much had to steal this. So thanks, Grounded. Cheers. I'll probably pop in later because that gives me OCD. I remember my dad, by accident, robbed a pack of chewing gums, I think, from a Spar. Like, Joe just put them in his pocket, and oh my god, I think he went back and for them about 10 quid for the fucking chewing gums about 10 minutes later. So I think that's like hardwired into us. Like, I actually feel guilty, but I am enjoying this so much. Joe, when something's free, just tastes better. So as I was saying there before I popped in, I'm really trying to spend time with things that matter. So like, I've really started throwing a lot of time into my family, even like my friends, the dips for my head, doing things that are probably going to make me just feel better, because as I was saying, you can't just expect somebody to help you. I've noticed over the last 2 months since I've leaned into like family, friends, dips, spent more downtime actually doing other things than just work. Even though I love the work and I love the gym, I think a lot of people get caught in the cycle of like work, gym. And you really think about it, and at the end of the day, like, it's not really what matters as much as the rest, and a lot of us are getting caught up in that. And yes, it's important to have goals, and it's important, sorry, I'm just adjusting the camera, it's important to have goals, and it's important to strive for something, but I think I got lost in the fog for a little bit. So, and see, since I've recentered, like I was saying this on a podcast the other day, like my dad and mum turned around to me the other week and was like, it's good to have you back. Like, they actually thought, they were like, we thought this sort of version of you was gone, because like, without people knowing, I'm actually hilarious, and I was running about the house with a wig on there. Good videos to come of that. Pretend to be fucking Thor and pretend to be like a woman. That does not sound good for a YouTube video, but messing around, that's really what I'm like deep down. I'm just a bit of a wingnut. And like, I wasn't like that for a long time. I was given like, the stress of work was making me snap at people, and anybody that's dieted hard will know this. Like, somebody asks you something simple, that they're maybe trying to give you a hand, and you almost snap. And like, that was me for a long time period, and it wasn't all me, you know. Probably there's other things, but the thing is, I will always take full responsibility, because that way you're empowered to change. And what I've noticed is, since I've done that and I went, right, well, what can I change? I've changed it. I've actually fucking fully changed it. Like, I'm not even lying when I mean I'm a different breed to what I was 6 months ago. I'm more productive, but I work less. I make more, but I work less. I'm spent more time with my family. It's just, you can be a wee bit frustrated, because I'm frustrated that I lived like that for 2 years, but I felt like the grind was necessary. But I think so many people are getting caught up in that. You have to grind to be successful. You don't. You have to grind to give away your life. And when you're working obscene amount of hours, your quality of work drops. You feel like you're working more, but you get stuck in this procrastination cycle. So what we do is we end up working all the time, and then we procrastinate, and it's shit quality work. And then what we do is we be hard on ourselves, and then we work more, and we literally repeat this triangle. Whereas what you need to do is just literally put in a break, or sit down, diary, journal, and think, right, am I working too much? Am I not being productive? How can I make it more efficient, but not too much? And see, one of the things I was listening to was a Johari on a podcast the other week, and he was highlighting the importance, and he's wrote a book on this as well. He was talking about procrastination and efficiency, and you'll love this. This is something that I wish I could have got snippets like this, because it's like the gold from it. I always wrote to-do lists instead of time blocking, and when you write a to-do list, what happens is, if you have 4 tasks on it and you complete it on a Sunday or a Monday, what happens Tuesday or the next day? You put on 6, 7, 8, and what eventually happens is you just keep building your to-do list, because your efficiency builds up. You just get more and more tasks. It's like work. If you're an overperformer, you probably get a little bit of praise, but you end up with more work than somebody who's shit, and you just end up getting yourself more pressure, more stress, and you still don't feel as good, because yes, that day you ticked the box you did, but every other day you're not, because your efficiency rate's so high compared to others that you end up giving yourself a hard time anyway. I was having to-do lists with 28 things in them. Like, what? Like, when I read them back, I'm like, how is a person supposed to get all this done? And yet I expected that from myself, and it's the standards we put on ourselves that put so much pressure, versus now I put 3 things for the day. Vlog my morning walk, go view a house in Lurgan, and train. That was it. That's my Saturday. And yes, I'll do little bits here and there, maybe a message is maybe the 4th thing, but that's it. Whereas before I would have been like, Joe, I have to do that, right? Then I have to maybe sign up 2 people, and then maybe I have to do a mentorship video, and just too much, rather than just going, what is the most important thing that's going to move the needle today in my life and my business? And then I always sort of start like 2 or 3 things out of business, and then try and throw in something that's personal. And like, it's Saturday, so I will spend time with my ones from like 4 p.m. onwards and relax and make sure that I enjoy it. And Sunday I'll take off now, which is obscene. I don't think I've ever done that before, which is hard to say, but I think it is that trade-off. You have to go that far, and you have to work that hard to build the business and build the freedom. So I'm just coming out of the grind phase, and I'm almost just letting people see the repercussions to an extent of it, because it does give you everything in life, but you do have to sacrifice quite a lot to get there. And I'm wondering now, I wonder, was it worth it? You know, that's what I sort of ponder now. And I don't believe there's a right or wrong answer. A lot of people say, yeah, it definitely was. A lot of people say, oh, I don't know about that. But I don't think there's right or wrong in life. I think it's just you learn and you move forward. And if I had to be honest, I honestly don't think, looking back, I'll ever do that again to that extent. And I think a lot of it was driven by working through therapy now. It was driven by a need of not being good enough, and the fact that money, status, followers would make me feel better, and it all comes from probably whenever I struggled in secondary school and primary school, feeling like I was accepted, and I thought the more and more that I lent into these things, the more I'd feel good enough. And when I got it all, I was like, meh. So, and all it took was a little bit of work. And it's funny, because I wonder, would I be in that same position? I'm grateful that that happened, because the life I have, the quality of, like, do you know what I mean, the next 20, 30 years is going to be unbelievable. But I'm wondering, like, do you know, I think you can really ponder your own life, and I'm a very heavy thinker, and I don't think I've showed this side to a lot of people. So it's just something, if you're lying in bed and you're ever thinking, I'm always there for a chat. Don't be afraid to message me, especially if anybody's a wee bit up in their head. Just remember, there's no right or wrong. We learn, we move forward, and it's always darkest before the dawn. So no matter what way you're feeling, you'll always be A1. And I'm locked in. I'm excited for the cut. I'm feeling probably the best I have in months, like absolute months. And I'm excited to share this. I really am.